Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, so we are going to be checking out the observer block. It might look weird to you, the resolution. It might look weird. But I did discover some stuff, which is some rules about the observer block. Yeah, the observer can basically silently and, powerlessly send a signal almost instantly up and down from height. You can see it pointing down and up, right? You can also make double piston extenders, relatively easy. I mean, that's super easy. If you're building like a 3x3 door, yeah, that would not be very hard at all to implement that in. And of course, an observer will power through a block. So it's basically just like having a repeater that's movable. The only problem is that it's always facing one direction and it can only be activated from one side or the other. And as far as I can tell, the only way you can get this to be a monostable is to either have the power on the on position or on the off all the time, which because I'm using a button here, I still would have to use this. It is possible for me to use the observer, like for instance, I could use the observer here, but what we're going to be doing today is we're going to actually get rid of all of this stuff here. I'm just going to get rid of the sides to this. I do have a backup of this world, so I can always just reload it if I end up not wanting to do it. But I would like to replace my white circuit and the orange circuit. I would like to replace it with the observer. The biggest problem that we're going to have is the observer should, when activated, it should actually send 2 pulses, which means I'm going to have to convert the signal, which probably using a piston would work. And I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So if we were to grab a piston, say a sticky piston, and I was to have it on the current, let's say, on position all the time, and then, oh wait a minute, I need to have it over here. Let me go ahead and we'll just run some redstone there. Let me go ahead and put a piston here, and we'll go ahead and we'll offset it. So if this was, say, a redstone block, for instance, and I only wanted it to be powered on the on position, so then I use a button, it's always going to return it to its original state. So it basically, is going to do 2. So one of the ways to convert this signal would be to use another observer. Yeah, and I will say that you can actually activate the observer from from any of these points. So this actually works out okay for my button system. On this one, I mean, this one is 10. It's 10 blocks per floor, so it should work out because it's like every one of these. So if you touch, if you activate these note blocks, then in their hand you can they can be affected by hand, or they can be affected by redstone being activated. Yeah. So you could basically access it from anywhere from these note blocks. It's silent. That's the point of it, because it's sitting on top of a piece of wool. It's basically silent. Yeah. So I have my chat ready. so I can see it. I was trying to make it so that my chat could actually be overlaid over the top of what you guys are seeing. If it seems like it's in a weird resolution, it's because I'm actually playing this in like a really strange resolution. If we were to look at it, my current resolution, I don't even know what it is, but it's probably pretty horrific. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm playing it so I can see one side of my screen. So it's basically like, you know, it's not 1080. It's more like I would say 1970 by, you know, 8 something. You know, something like that. So we're going to basically try and get these to work. I know that we can definitely get them to work on the upper position. The biggest problem is if this is our only access point, it's basically one, yeah. So if we wanted to, yeah. So every 4 blocks basically, or every 3, when technically 4 high, I can access it. So if we were to try and figure that out on here, because these note blocks will be detected from the button being pushed, we could actually have these right up against the back of the elevator. And so to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about, I'm going to get rid of this real quick. We won't need any torches. I don't know how expensive. I don't know how expensive they are. So, so basically, we would want to have something basically telling us what floors are what. Now, you do not need to access orange floors, so this can be taken out. But after that, we would want note blocks. And one note block doesn't activate another, so if we want to send this signal upwards, we could tactically use nothing but them all the way up, because, I mean, obviously we're not going resource friendly. But to stay within the resource friendly, I would like to repeat the pattern in which we've already got. So this is the light blue floor. So you basically have to do this each time. But if we needed to, we could put 2 there, and it would be relatively easy. So yeah, so this actually needs to be a note block. No, it needs to be a block, note block, observer, and then it would be a block, note block, and observer. So on this one, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add in, because we want this to be there, so we're going to want to put in 2 observer blocks, and then do that, and then this. Now I got to check it first to see if it actually works. Yeah, I think it does work, but let's see. Oh, whoops! You know what? This actually would have worked, because it'd be this, then it would be the observer. Oh no, then it would be the note block. Then it would be the observer. So the note block is right there. So we just need to check to see if it actually works. So when we hit this button, does it activate it? It does, as you guys can see. The problem is it does it on the on and off position, but it is a monostable pulse, so it's pretty fast. So we could use this to wire it up. Still no comments. So yeah, let's keep going. We will we'll go ahead and do a block, and then this, and then we're going to want to do observer. And I don't think that observer can be powered sideways, so that's one of the best things about it. Just to make sure, we'll we'll test it again. And we just needed to come up to where this white circuit is, so and then should be an observer here. So we would want basically either a piston or we would just want to run some redstone. Yeah, I'm actually curious if this gets detected. Let's check it out. It does not get detected when it's being activated. So what we could do is we could get the power from here, because we know that that block is going to be activated. And in order to activate our floor, we need it to come into this block. So simply doing this, and we want it to just do one-time activation. So basically, it's a button down there, but we need to make it into a lever. So I would say we either need to do some sort of pulse lengthener. I actually forgot, to be honest, how to convert 2 pulses into 1, so it only takes it once. What we could actually do is either use another observer, so like this, we could basically use a piston to basically push the observer, and it will come here and activate the floor. There you go. So the problem is, I think when you go to reactivate the floor, it should still work. So if I was to, yeah, that won't work because it's not actually touching the observer. But if we were to hit the floor again, it's going to do it on the on and off position. So that definitely works. It's pretty small. So we can basically do that, and we can get rid of the orange circuit as well from here. Yeah. So I'm thinking of keeping this white. We'll go ahead and change this to white. Go ahead and do the redstone. And I did discover something kind of crazy. If you guys want to see it. So yeah, so I've been using this for a long time, and it brings it really far out, and it gives you the ability to use 2 buttons. But now that we have the observer, we could technically do the same thing and get rid of all these, because this is turning this on, and so on, and it needs to be inverted. So what we could basically do is get rid of this design here. Yeah, there's no reason to have that. Seriously, the only reason I've ever had this here, yeah, only reason I've ever had this here is because we have a button there. But if we have the observer here, when you touch it, it's going to send a signal on the on and off position. So, so we could either have that there with a piston that activates this, or we could. That's probably my one concern about it. Seriously, that's my one concern. But let's leave it out because we don't really even need the button there. Because I want to replace this orange circuit first. So we're going to go ahead and use orange blocks now. And we want it to head downward. And we only need it to go right there, which it's already going into a monostable. I don't actually know why this is being permanently powered. Let's actually find out what's causing it to be a monostable, because it shouldn't be a monostable. Oh, I see. So it's actually when this comes off, we need it to be yeah, if we monostable it, we need to change it to 3 ticks basically. And so when it comes across, it's going to do a pulse of 3 ticks, and then that way this doesn't do It doesn't permanently have that on. So I would like for this to be, you know, if I could, you can see that this orange circuit, white circuit should activate the floor plus activate this. So let's go ahead and figure out how are we going to do this here. Because we need the magenta. So basically, we just need to basically take it. So if you want to stop on the second floor, we need an orange. We need the orange circuit here. And we can basically take this and put it on 3 ticks from here. And that way we can use the observer. So what I'm actually thinking is, so if we have an observer going downward and we want to, you know, when you touch that right there, it's going to send a signal into this orange block, and then it's going to send it into the note block, and then the biggest problem would be, will this activate that? So we got to check this real quick. Yeah, got to check this real quick, and we would need to start with a note block here. So that's probably the one thing I might have to bring this a little bit one away, because I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this is where the button is. So what we could do is we could actually have the observer go here into an orange block, into a note block, and we can just get it one away. That way there's no way it can interfere. Because I'm pretty sure that if an observer, sorry, if a note block, say if it lands on a power block, it's gonna activate the floor. So we don't want that. We don't want that happening. So it's gonna have to be one away, which is not that bad because we can use the observer like you guys can see here. So the observer, note block, then another observer, and then block, note block, and that works out. Actually, that works out pretty good. I've seen a bunch of people using the note blocks. I don't know, you know, I think it's more about just taking some of the lighting away. Every time a piston fires, I mean, like, if I could, I would replace all of these pistons with just on and off, you know, no lights. You know, technically all of these wiring could be made out of observers because you can make them go around corners, go up and down, and so on. The thing is, nothing can touch them, you know, the note blocks. So if anything powers the note block. Now I could use another material. Hey, what's up, Mark? I can never figure out that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know why I can. Seriously, I've been doing it for a little bit. So now we could basically take the observer, and we can either I mean, I'd like to keep it a piston, but I'm thinking what we should do is get rid of the note block, put an observer here. Is that where we want it to be? Yeah, this power that. We could have the piston toggle this power block down, toggle it downward to activate this. So we'd want another observer here. Yeah, I don't know if that would work, honestly, because it's being pushed. But let's see. Let's see if it actually does do something. Because, yeah. So if this was powered, it's going to do 1, 2. But it's just going to do it when you first push it, I think. Let's actually check it. So we'll hit this. Nothing, huh? The observer's not being activated by this. So am I doing this wrong? I think, yeah, I think that the observer, this would have to be going into that and then the observer has to come off of it there in order for this to work. Yeah. Okay, so let's check it again. So it definitely works as a button. So, but much smaller, super small. Yeah, super small. In comparison, I mean, a torch tower is cheaper, I think, because but you could technically, like I said, it just gets rid of some of that lag. Having the piston have to be here though sucks. So I need to figure out a way to convert a 1-tick pulse. Yeah, I need to convert a 1-tick pulse into... Yeah, I need to figure out a way to convert a 1-tick pulse in a small area into, or two pulses into one huge pulse without a piston. Because once you start adding pistons in, that's when it becomes laggy. The more pistons you have, the more stuff has to be registered to move, and then of course the redstone needs to be lighted, which then eventually you end up getting stuck in the floor. So right now this is on the off position. But yeah, that's pretty cool that it doesn't matter. If it gets moved, it doesn't matter what's next to it. So that's a good thing. So let's see if I hit the see if I want to go down to the second floor, the magenta floor. Nothing happened there. Did I do that wrong? Yeah, okay, so yeah, this has to go into a note block, then the observer. Yeah. I don't know why it doesn't detect it from a block, but whatever. Let's make it the same color as the floor, so magenta, note block. Then we basically just want to raise this up some. Let's go. And we could basically do this like that. Oops. Kind of leave everything right where it is. There we go. Okay, it's on the off position. Now let's see. Okay, I want to go down. I'm not hearing nothing. The button is below. It does not appear as though the button touching that through it is actually activating it. So that would basically mean that this would have to be a note block. Let's actually check it. We should be able to hear it. Yeah. So the note block has to go into the observer. I don't know if it works. I mean, yeah, if we had the observer there, so let me see. That kind of sucks, because if it has to be the note block, and then we want it to be detected by the observer, the note block does not send power through, so because it doesn't detect the button on the other side, which it actually should. I don't know why. Let's actually check that up here. Because you would think that this should, it should detect a button on this side. I would say that it's possible to... Yeah, nothing. It does not detect that. So the only thing it could detect would be yeah. So that's the only way you can get it to detect it. It's got to be a note block touching the source. So that kind of makes it a little bit longer or wider than I would like it to be. Because that makes it actually bigger. So you have the button, then you have the note block, then you have this, the observer. Now, if I could you know, like if the note blocks were next to each other perfectly, so if it was like this, I could basically repeat this pattern so that the observers never touch each other. So this would never get powered by the observer, and then we'd go block, and then observer would never touch that. The thing is, you don't want power touching this, so if I was to let me see here, if I was to I need a well, that's good. It doesn't activate it when a note block is next to the to it, so it's not sending the power down it. So yeah, so you hit it, and then this sends a signal downward, and it has arrows, so I mean that's always good, right? So so that actually does work out. I don't know, the thing about it that would suck is if it was to happen to go by this button. So if I had to bring it down here, it should never match up though. So alright, so yeah, we would want to go block, and then observer, and then or we might want to go note block, then observer pointing this way. Which then can in turn could power the piston that needs to grab that. I would like it to come one block down, so I think I know that this will power through the block here, so the piston should toggle the observer. So yeah, right now this is on the on position, so we would want the observer. Let me go ahead and just reset this here. So making the wiring much smaller and tileable, where it actually doesn't affect itself being next to itself, and it doesn't chain itself, as long as the observer is not actually powering the block, which we're going to check right now. So if I was to, ooh, yeah, that's not working. That is not working. That's crazy. Okay, we don't want to do that. So it does look like something is definitely like detecting it. So I'm like, where was it actually detecting? I think it's here. I think it's there. Let's check it. So if a block touches a note block, so you can't do that, I don't think. So let's see. Yeah, that should not actually be working. If you look at this, it's getting block updated, so I can't have a piston next to, yeah, I can't have a piston next to it. And if the piston was here, and yeah, so I would assume that it has to actually be exactly the same up and down. So if I was to have the line running down, that you would want note block next to note block, observer next to observer, block next to block. You know, this works opposite. That's the problem, is that, you know, this has to be an observer. Like, it could be a block, which in turn should power. Like, when this gets powers this, it should power that. So yeah, I think that's what's the problem. If you have a block next to the note block. Now, I do know that there's another way, the hopper. I don't know. The other way to do it would be to just use nothing but observers, and not try to be resource friendly. Just basically use nothing but observers. That way they don't get triggered, which is probably the next thing that we want to try. I'm going to say that it's probably worth it. I mean, we could definitely do this, you know, to save it. Like, every other line could be different. Yeah, every other line could be different. Yeah. So if you're on this floor and you hit that, it's going to activate that. So it definitely works. Yeah, this does not power that though. Yeah, that's not going to work. It has to be... Let me get rid of this. Yeah, you can see that it's activating and triggering a lot of those from there. So these should not actually do both. Yeah, it should only do one. So when you do that, the observer... This actually does work, because there's no way they would they don't interfere with each other. Like, if you put something here, it does not activate it. So I don't know how expensive an observer is. I'd probably have to look online to find out. Mark says, look at the, looks like a work of art. My son always shouts at me on Minecraft because I have no clue how to play it. Off to sleep. All right, Mark. Thanks for coming by, dude. So yeah, we have that hooked up. Now we want to do the opposite. So this one, we only need it to go from there to there. So relatively easy. I don't think that this will be activated by a piston. I mean, unless they change some stuff. So we have the observer just basically go. Now we could go resource friendly, which would be, you know, do a block. Wait a minute. Yeah, the block has to touch something else. So if we wanted to go resource friendly, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it's probably more resource friendly. What's up, Devon? Must learn how to build this. Well, this is actually just a prototype. I never released it because, to be honest, it's pretty complex. So let's see. So we want that there. We want to have a observer there. Actually, you know what? We can go piston there with the observer on it. And then that's going to basically come out here and turn the power on when you hit the... So you can see, like, the lines are really easy to see. Up, down. And I will say that we could use power now without redstone if they were made out of nothing but observers. Now, I don't know what it takes. I'm going to actually, I think I want to look it up. I'm going to take a quick look at the observer block. See, observer block Minecraft. take a quick look at it. So it requires 2 redstone and some nether quartz, and then cobblestone. So that's actually pretty expensive because, I mean, well, not really. I mean, that's not really that expensive. Yeah, that's not that expensive. I will say that it's probably cheaper to use 1 stick. I think it's 1 stick and some redstone to make a redstone torch. So if you went block, redstone torch, block, redstone torch, it would definitely be cheaper to just use the torch tower like I was doing before. For sure it would be. But this is more, I'll say it's got to be less lag. I mean, we can try it. I don't like the fact that I have a piston here, but it is the only way I can figure out how to convert this in a small area, is to use a piston. I'm sure somebody has one. I could probably use an end gate, some stuff like that to get it to switch over to, but it would still be basically a lag light source. So yeah. So the only problem we run into is we need power. When we set this floor, we need the power to travel down to here as well. So about the only thing I can think of is, since this is going to be the new input for floor 2, we're going to need to build that first. So input for floor 2. Input for floor 2 right there with a observer on it. Now, one thing I'm going to say right now, because of where it's sitting, if you hit that button for the magenta floor, it's going to activate this. So we don't want it there. We're going to want it to be maybe away. I'm going to say away from it. We could probably take it down some, or maybe go up one. Let's go up one. Yeah, let's go up one. And then we'll have another observer on that. And then we'll want that to power. Power here. So that's going to come across here. We are going to need to convert that signal into 3 ticks so that it's registered. And I think just to make it look cool, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, I like that. So when you hit the floor from the top, it's going to activate it to stop it. And then when you hit the floor from the bottom, it's going to stop the elevator on that floor. It's going to activate the floor, so you only go up to that floor. So that works. Now the only problem is we need to get the power. When we send it down, we need power to go into this block here. So I actually think we're okay, because when you hit the up button, it should work regardless. But let's check it. Let's check it to make sure that that works. So we have 3rd floor active. Then we have 2nd floor can be activated on the way up or from the 1st floor. Now we just need to basically activate the 3rd floor from the 2nd floor, which would require me to do this. Yeah. So having that there should make that possible. Yeah. So when you touch that, it's going to activate or deactivate that floor. Let's go ahead and deactivate it. Oh. Okay, what happened there? Oh, yeah, that's right, I unhooked it. Send it down to 0. So it seems like something detected it. Yeah, it still sent 2 pulses. Let's check that real quick. If you want to go down to the 2nd floor, The second floor is not being detected. Oh, that's because I put this in the wrong spot. There we go. Okay, let's try that. Now, that's pretty cool. It made a noise. It was like thunk. Let's put something on top of it so it doesn't make any noise. Hopefully it makes no noise. Yeah, so it's working. That's working. Now we need to see, why is this not working? It is because the note block is detecting it on the on and off position. So does that mean it's getting 4 pulses? Because this should have actually stood there. Let's check it from here. Let's see. That doesn't work at all. So when you hit the... Yeah, it grabbed it, sent it, and then retracted it. It should still work. So it basically came out, turned it on, and then turned it off. So that's not good. It's supposed to throw it. Let's see. I think let me double check this real quick. The reason why this wasn't working properly is because I was not using a button. So the piston is supposed to convert it. Yeah, there should not be another pulse there because the block is not there. Look. Yeah. Maybe I need to do it like opposite. Let's try. Nope, it's still doing 2. Still doing 2. I thought I solved it by using a piston. But apparently it does not work. Yeah, the piston's not going to work. So, yeah. Piston's not going to work. And, yeah. So, that means that this will definitely send the 2 signals up the line. But now I need to convert it into one single pulse. So, I just got to remember how to do that. Now, the only thing I can think of is like a falling edge monostable. Basically, it means that, you know, like when it's powered, like it's always powered, and then you turn off the power, and then when it gets hit with the second pulse, it can't turn the power off. That's basically what we want to do. Now, the only way I know to do that is to use a regular old monostable, because it will throw the block off. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So if we were to do this, I need to check. Yeah. So it's detecting it on the on and off position. I was really hoping that this would actually work to convert that. Yeah, because this shouldn't be a block update detector, honestly. I could try a different material, but anyway, so we're getting 2 pulses out of this. It's going to come up, going to power this block. It's going to come across here, and it's going to turn this thing on and off. And so if we actually were to put this here with a repeater, it should throw the block up, which is going to smash that. I can make it sideways as well, but yeah, so it comes across, it goes through here. Let's go ahead and just do this for now. Then that's going to send a 1-tick pulse through this line, which is going to require this to be on 3 ticks. So let's see what happens now. So that basically turns it into a falling edge that only when the button's pushed once, it will receive both pulses while it's up. So, yeah. So this is the way this is the only way with another piston I mean, it still works, and you don't have to have the observers on there, and it turns it into a falling edge so that it only gets a power once, and that's it. But it's basically like having another observer. But it does work. So we know that the top floor is going to work correctly. Can we implement that here is the question. That's what we're going to need to do. We go observer, and then we need to install falling edge here. We're going to actually need that to be here. Falling edge. Right, like that. So this is going to come across. We are no longer going to need... yeah, we will no longer need... let me actually go ahead and do that. We don't need the redstone. Oops, that was my bad. We just need it to be a repeater to make sure that the signal goes through on the other side. So that will get rid of it. But let's check it to see. So when we hit the down button, is it active now? No, it's on the off position. Yeah. So that's converting it to a falling edge. So converting it to a falling edge. Now I will say that I really am considering, you know, just getting rid of this entire circuit and starting from scratch. Now that I have, you know, these lines have been figured out. So now we need to do the same thing here. We're going to have another falling edge. Another falling edge here. I'm going to go ahead and use white on this one. We can get rid of most of these. Yeah. So we need it to come into that. That's actually kind of sucks, because if we stick something there, the button will touch it, so it has to be like that. I mean, it's totally possible to do, but... yeah, it's possible to have a repeater there, but sometimes what ends up happening is it powers... it won't always let the signal get through. And the reason it doesn't let the signal get through is because the block's being powered at the exact same time as the redstone. And so sometimes it can lift it. It'll make it orientational. It can make it orientational. So I'm thinking, like, there's no way we can have the note block here, because if you push the button, it will activate the floor you're on, and you do not want to do that. You do not want to activate the floor you're on. That is what the down button's for, so you don't need a second function for that. It's just, you know, poor programming. So what we actually are going to have to do here, we're going to have to figure out a way. I mean, I know technically I could basically bring this out one, you know, so it's not up against the wall, so it doesn't actually touch that. But I would like it to be where it's at. I mean, there's other ways I can do this. I could do it right off of here. Like, so say we have it here. And then we go straight to a piston. And then that would basically should work. It'll send a 1 tick into there though. Yeah, it'll send a 1 tick pulse, so yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, so I think where we had it was probably the best. I just don't like the way that it's done. Let me see, can I could kind of do this, like take it down here, note block, observer, note block, observer. And then the redstone would just be powered directly through. And then I can just switch this to a repeater. Yeah, if you guys don't understand why it has to have 3 ticks, it's because one tick will mess stuff up. Basically, if a 1 tick pulse comes through and touches this circuitry right here, what's going to end up happening is that the block that comes down here to just temporarily activate this circuit will always be activating the circuit, which just causes a lot of problems. So the thing about having the pistons here, it shouldn't actually affect the elevator's ride because you hit the button and then it activates the floor for you. Yeah, it activates the floor. So let's go ahead and yeah. So that's giving us exactly what we want. Yeah, it's converting that signal into only 1, which is kind of horrific. I gotta say that I kind of wish that they had the observer and maybe it had 2 settings on it, like it had a little button to where you could get falling edge detection, or if it will just convert a single signal into 1 pulse. But you know, it wouldn't be any fun if we did it this way. So this does make the circuitry a little bit simpler. I mean, you can really see it. It's like if I was trying to explain this to somebody, it's much simpler. But I would say that it would be really confusing to do on that. Probably more confusing than a torch tower. Would you do a tutorial on this? I could, but I'm going to say that it only works on PC. Unfortunately, this only works on PC. So if you're from Xbox 360, I have other tutorials that do still work. It's just people refuse. They refuse to basically acknowledge that it works. So now that we have this wiring, I kind of want to see does it work? Seriously, does it work? Yeah. Yeah, I could have technically... Yeah, this is probably the best way to do it, is to go like that. Yeah, that's probably the best way. Let me go ahead and deactivate that floor. Okay, so it's on the upper position. We want to send it down. So I need to do that from down here. Okay, so this should be reset to 0. Yeah, it should be reset to 0. Yeah, reset to 0. Oh, you know what? I just realized I could save a piece of redstone there, because it will power through a block. Save a piece of redstone by doing that. I do like the new wiring system. But I will be doing some tutorials here in the future. The thing is, I was going to be doing some like Let's Plays to kind of show people just how hard it is to design something like this. This is the old version that I made back before any of the newer technology, and it works great. You know, I did notice that depending on what resolution my screen's in, I will either get stuck or not, which just says that Minecraft has poor optimization again. It used to have wonderful, I mean, when I stopped playing, it had great optimization on PC. But I do like the fact that you can literally have wiring going around and doing stuff that you want it to do. I just don't like the fact that you have to use a falling edge monostable. But it works, you know, it works. Either way, I mean, it's simpler. I think if I explain this to somebody, they would understand it easier, or maybe they'd be more confused. So everything should be set to 0. So this should be ready to be tested. Yeah. So let's go ahead and yeah, I have tutorials on elevators similar to this. My idea here is to basically make a new elevator from scratch, which I'm going to actually start building here soon, that basically performs like a real elevator. What I mean by that is that it goes up and then it has to come down each time. The thing about that is now that we have these new lines, I can do that. Before it would have just been, you know, sending a signal up a torch tower, which is probably more resource friendly, but yeah. So I mean, if we were to look at my frame rate, I'm at 99 frames, which my actual game's FPS is only in Minecraft is actually only 60 frames is my monitor. So yeah, F3 plus, yeah, so shift hidden FPS. I want the FPS to be seen. What is it? It says press F3 to Q to hide it. Okay, so when we hit this, am I getting any frame rate? Whoa, Nelly. Okay, that did not do what we wanted it to do. It activated the floor, but it also sent up. It sent the elevator on the upper position. So wiring's definitely crossed there. So we're gonna have to fix that. Let's go ahead and find out what exactly is causing it. Let's send it down. And you can just see the amount of frame rate loss that I get when I hit it down. It's just everything stutters really bad. So this floor has been activated, and it shouldn't be. Yeah. I could technically use a redstone lamp as well here, which would probably be cheaper. Yeah. And you can see the signal traveling through it. So you can technically go redstone lamp, redstone lamp, redstone lamp, and just keep going. And that should work. But let's see what happens. So I hit this button. All it's supposed to do is come through here and turn this floor onto the on position. I think what's going on here is this when this floor, like right now it's in the wrong position. So I'll show you what I mean. Like if this was down, it's in the wrong position. Yeah, this is literally backwards. What that means is the elevator should be on the upper position right now. Yeah, it should be on the upper position. So I would say that this is actually what's wrong. Let me go ahead and so that's how it's supposed to be standard. So yeah, that's kind of messed up because when you use this falling edge, the floor has to be set on the active position. That way it does not, when you call the floor. So we need to find out why exactly. And then look, if you check this out, look, this floor, it's all been activated. So let's go ahead and call it down. Yeah, I'm gonna actually, I really am thinking that I want to see if these are getting activated. So this is gonna screw up a lot of stuff though. The last thing you want to do is have lighting. Yeah, last thing you want to do is have lighting, because it does make it laggier. But I need to see what it's doing. So yeah, so alright, so the elevator should be on the upper position, and this floor should be upwards. So when this block comes down, it drops the floor. It drops the floor. Then this, yeah, so this is actually when the elevator's up. Yeah, when the elevator comes up, yeah, right now when I activate this floor, it should push down and not allow a signal to pass through to the yellow circuit, so it does not instantly extend it. So let's check this out. So now it's basically set wrong. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just activate it real quick. That should be how it is all the time. Should always be on the on or off position. So either a double pulse is still getting through this, which is kind of crazy if you think about that. Yeah, it's possible that a double pulse is getting through, but we'll see. So the elevator is back up again. Let me go ahead and send it down. Yeah, so this is set correctly. The elevator is on the down position. Yeah, this is on 3 ticks of delay. So the elevator should be down. Is it down? The floor is set wrong now. It should be where the floor is. Okay, so that's the floor. Everything's set to 0. Let's see what happens when we test it. Go ahead and put these blocks up, observer. And let's go ahead and we'll just emulate what happens when we push this. Yeah, it's doing a double pulse. So why is it doing like a double pulse? I mean, it should do 1, 2, but I've seen 3 up there. Did you see that? Like 1, it did 1, then 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe it has to do with the fact that these are redstone lamps, because when I push this button, it stays lit only once. But I've seen 2 pulses come through here. The elevator's on the upper position. Let's go ahead and send it down. Yeah, the elevator should not extend. When the elevator's in the down position, that piston should be pushing down, and of course this floor got activated as well. Let's deactivate it. Double check. This floor too, it's ready to have instant extension, and so is this floor. It's ready to have instant extension. That is very strange. Something's not right there. Yeah, so the way it's set right now, if I was up here, I would hit that to drop the floor, and this should actually instantly extend. It's actually the opposite of what it's supposed to be. Yeah, when the elevator is in the down position, this should be actually upwards. So yeah, it should be like that. Yeah, it should be like that. So when I touch the upper part of this, it should not send a signal all the way through, but it is, which tells me something's not right there. I'm going to go take a look at something on this one. So when I send the power to this floor. I'm going to send a signal through the floor, and I'm going to activate this circuit here. Okay, I see what's wrong. You cannot have a repeater here. It has to be redstone. Totally forgot about that. That's the only thing separating it. So when I have a repeater here, it's not actually supposed to connect. It's why it's actually in a weird shape, like it's downward like this. Because this needs to be separated so that it does not actually trigger. So it only triggers this. So that's why it's like that. So that makes a lot of sense. Now the problem is, once we've done that, we're going to need a signal. We're going to need a signal to come through to here to activate this floor. So yeah, this should actually work. It's just not going to drop the floor. So this is going to basically turn on and just extend or retract that. It's in the correct position right now. So when you send the power up, all I need to do, so I'm basically bypassing this. So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to use an observer, another one. Actually, I don't think I want to use another observer. I think I would like to use... I'm actually thinking it might be simpler to use the torch tower, but let's try and keep it with this. So we have this light here, which doesn't need to be there, honestly. It's just so we know, so we know what's going on. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add a line in here. Basically, we want to add a line. It's going to need. I could technically put this into. So if I do this, if I do that and then I use another observer, it should just send the pulse through. Should send the pulse through. Yeah, it should send the pulse through. It's going to pop it up, and then it's going to hit it again. It's going to basically do the same thing. So we would still need a falling edge on this. Now that just sucks. So I'm thinking I would rather get some power from right here and send it down to it. It would be simpler. So if we were to basically take and send power down to it from here, I can put this on 3 ticks and that should fix it. Yeah, and just for the shit of it, I'm gonna put that there so that it never touches. You shouldn't have to. It doesn't matter if you put a button on here. It's not gonna activate. It's not gonna activate it. Not the observer. So power going directly into it, it can only be activated through the face. So yeah, I'll have to do that with each floor. That's kind of something I'm going to need to rethink for sure. Yeah. So if you're coming through here, but I mean that definitely makes it super small. I mean, it makes it smaller, but it does require more resources. Definitely a ton more resources. A lot of going to the Nether to do this. But who the hell is going to make this in survival? So anyway, so now that we have this cut off, we should start getting what we've been looking for. Yeah, that's been the problem the whole time, is that I've had those connected and they should not have been connected, because this is only supposed to activate the floor. Same here, it's supposed to only activate the floor. So when this comes through, it needs to activate this as well. When you hit the up on it. So we're going to need to get the power off of this right here. Yeah, we're gonna need to get the power. Gonna need to steal the power off of it. So that block's gonna come down there. And then we're gonna get screwed over there because it has to be a repeater. Yeah. So that pulse is going to come through here. It's going to hit a 1 tick, which is going to permanently put that floor up, which we don't want to do. This has got to be controlled. So I'm going to have to change this. So it's going to need to be a it's going to need to be a repeater with 3 ticks on it. And that's where the power source is going to have to be. So when this comes down, it's actually smaller, so I mean it works. That's going to be the power source right there. So we need a torch there. Now I can do this, which should still activate it on a 3 tick delay. So the block's going to come down, touch it, and do its thing. We can check it. We can check it too. So let's go ahead and let's see. So I do think that I figured out something here, and I do want to remember it. So we're going to go ahead and if you want an observer to be converted, I mean from the original point, and you want it to send, it only does it from 1 point, which is kind of weird. I would say it's probably a bug, but when I use the redstone lamp on this side of it and use that button, it was not detecting it. It is detecting it on the falling edge there. Okay, I think I was wrong. Yeah, it was only getting, when I was doing it down here, I was only getting 1 pulse. I don't know why, but whatever. Okay, so that should fix everything. The elevator is this needs to be reset, and that did something screwy. So we sent a signal down, and it sent the signal down. The floor is now set correctly. So every time I push, this will never be activated by anything other than that and this. So that might actually cause some sort of block updating. We'll have to check it and see. So first thing I need to do is just put this stuff back in my inventory. We could just leave that there. Okay, so elevator set to 0. Let's go ahead and test and see what happens when we use this. Yeah, I will say that makes it a hell of a lot smaller using those. I actually thought, you know, I could probably use observer lines going everywhere, but there would always have to be a piston, so it's kind of like, it's just too expensive, I would say. It's a good idea, but it's too expensive. It's way too expensive. To be honest, you're better off using a redstone block and a piston and creating a 15 block or 12 block, you know, block update that just basically updates it and then updates the next one and updates the next one. just because it would be less resources. So having a torch tower, I think, is still the possibility. But I'm gonna keep working on this and see if I can kind of shrink it down. So first thing we need to do though is, okay, this is untapped. So I need to oh, this sucks. I'm gonna have to yeah, this is not gonna go through. Yeah, it's gonna go through here, and it's gonna be, yeah, that's fine. That works. This is gonna work as well. Okay, that's gonna work. Yeah, because that's on 3. Okay, so there shouldn't be any double pulsing going on. It's all been stopped. So let's actually see what happens. So the upper floor is non-active. The pulse is going to come through here, and it's going to basically just turn this on. It's going to turn this on. Yeah, it's going to turn it on, and yeah, and it'll be ready for the elevator to come up to it. So let's see what happens when we press the button. There you go. You can see I got like 20 different pulses going. It was just going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Crazy. Why is it doing that? Is it possible the lights are causing a chain reaction? That's what it looks like to me. It looks like it's getting a chain reaction from the yeah. See what happens again. Yeah, it's doing two pulses, like 1, 2, super quickly. It's doing 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, and which basically makes it not do nothing. It's pretty much defeating its own purpose. I could try doing this so that, see if it slows it down. I don't know. Still doing a double pulse. I don't get that. I know it's supposed to send 2 signals up. 1 and then 2, like that. And then that's it. But we're getting 4 pulses. Yeah, that does not make one bit of fucking sense, honestly. It does not. Yeah, because this doesn't do that. It doesn't do a double pulse. Yeah, let's check it. So what we're getting off of this is not a 1-tick pulse. It can't be. So I'm gonna say that we should try and do this. Let's try just doing it directly and see what happens. Holy shnikes. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2. Something's chaining it. Something's causing it to be double triggered. Now it works, right? So I guess redstone lamps have that bug, so you probably do not want to use a redstone lamp on there. I think that's actually what caused it. is that the redstone lamp, for some strange reason, it's actually double. Let's check this and see why is it doing that. Is the redstone lamp different somehow than a note block? I know that the note block. Wow. So there must be, when the light turns on and when the light turns off, there's actually 4 pulses being generated. So I'm going to say either that's a bug, because I mean, but I will say that if you were to use something like this, it's almost performing like it's detecting items. Like it's detecting items in here. Because you're getting a consistent number, like it's always the same number, it looks like. Yeah. You're always getting the same number. You could technically use this as some sort of pulse generator, where if you wanted to get like a concession of a bunch of pulses and you converted some of the signals, you can get probably to get super crazy double piston extender going. So yeah, you definitely want to stick with note blocks, I think, for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this as well. I do have to check though. So the elevator never activated, which is not supposed to. When you're using these buttons, it should never activate anything other than the floor that you're on. So now we're at 0. We're back to 0. So that's definitely an issue. You have to use a note block, or because you can't use a block. An actual block does not transfer the signal, which doesn't make any sense, because it powers through a block. Anyway, so that would be pretty expensive because a note block isn't cheap. So anyway, I need to check to make sure everything's okay. This is stuck in the down position and it should not be, which says that it does get block updated because of that, because there's redstone right there. Yeah, that's not good. I didn't think that this would actually do that. Since it's running off now, maybe it won't, but I'm going to say I could probably test it. I could test it by putting a redstone block here. Yeah. So if the signal went through, it does its thing. And then something was to activate in its premises. Let's see if I touch it. Okay, so that works. It does not get updated if you have the redstone. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it actually does, because all of the updating power is focused this way. And this is not a block that can be powered through, I don't think. So like if I had the block here, I think you can still power through it. No, you cannot. Okay, well that's good to know. So it's basically a way to prevent the signal from going in a specific direction. Like I said, I mean, for build's sake. Thanks. Is it Watermark? Watermarks. Love these elevators. So yeah, I think that these lines would be a pain in the ass in real life. I don't think that they're actually. I thought maybe I could use them on here, but just seeing what I can do with them. So if you run one of these lines, because it gives you basically a block detecting up and down, that is literally a double pulse, forces you to have to use infinite amounts of material, which makes this even more undoable in survival mode than before. So let's test the elevator and see how it works. So the upper floor was not active. We're going to go ahead and activate it. So light blue, you can see that the falling edge dropped the floor down. So that's the first thing we want to see. Second thing we want to see is if it actually travels up. Now I need to make sure that during all that I did not activate the magenta circuit. Yeah, it's not active. Oh, and the floor isn't active either. Is the floor active? It is not active. So we should be able to take a ride all the way up to the 3rd floor. Now I did notice this is weird. I may possibly get stuck in this because I'm using a weird resolution. But let's just see. Okay. So that works. Let's go ahead and go down. Ooh, that's yeah, that's actually right. Okay. Now we're gonna take a trip down. If you ride on this piston, you won't take any fall damage. If you ride on that one, you will. There we go. So it works. And then let's take it down to orange floor. There we go. So now we just need to basically make the 3 stops that we want to see if that works. Okay, so I want to stop at the blue floor. I want to stop at that floor. I definitely heard it. So these floors should all be activated. This one's on the off position. Did I actually? Yeah, they're active. This one should not be on, though. It did not do what it was supposed to do. I mean, it's correct. It's definitely correct, but something did not work out right there. Well, let's just see what happens, because right now, if I was to... How fast does that go up? I think it's 10 ticks. So this is 70 blocks. 70 blocks tall. So yeah, so 70 blocks. This is the older design. I want to double check to make sure that it's actually functioning, because I did screw around with some of these designs. So 70 blocks to here, and you guys can see that it was already activated and waiting for me to go up. So yeah, I should create an indicator system. It just makes things so complex. So you can see that we sent a signal up. Let's see if we can fly fast up here, so we don't have to. So it's down. Okay, so let's take the 70 floors, or 70 blocks actually. Let's actually double check that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah. So it's 10 each one of those. So 70 blocks. Now, if I get stuck, I'm gonna just tell you it's because of the way I have this set up. But yeah. See how it pushed me to the right? It's actually because of my resolution that I'm using to record. So, at least I think that's what it is. But let's double check it. These are still prototypes, so don't like, I can switch the resolution to where I can't see chat. Yeah. Let me do this. Let me go ahead and send this down. Actually, you know what? I can send it down from here. laggy. Woo! Okay, so we're only missing one piston there. That's what it looks like. One piston. Okay, let's put this glass back. Alright, so everything's set back to 0. I'm going to change my resolution really quick. You'll probably see it on the camera. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to do it. I won't be able to see the chat for a second, but let's check it. So when it's in its normal resolution, it should work. When recording, it does cause a little bit of a problem, and I do have my frame rate up higher. So let's check it, see how it works. So being over to this side seems to be the better way to go, the sweet spot. Yeah. So I can see the lag. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. It is horrendous. It's about I think it's about a 10 tick. Yeah. Like I said, keep in mind that this is I'm still working on it. Yeah, it seems to be touchy. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is something I did to see if it would decrease lag was I basically put this on 100 frames per second. Let's go unlimited, and let's go ahead and turn VSync back on. That's what I had it on before. We have our resolution the same. Let's just check to see if as soon as we see some light come through here, we'll know. There we go. We'll know the pistons are all the way up. And let's try it again. There we go. So you can actually see that it's so fast that the pistons actually catch up. So it does work. But I'm going to say that I don't know what it is with FPS and why it's like that. It shouldn't affect anything. Let me go back to my other resolution. There we go. So I'm going to say that 70 blocks, it's got to be a 1 tick to 1 or 10 blocks, per second, or maybe more. It's like 1001, 1002. I want to see if it works with this resolution at 60 frames per second. Yeah, basically I'm using a 1080 monitor, and I have the screen to where I can see chat. So when I change it to what it is right now, it seems to cause me to get lagged into the things, as you guys can see. I just switched it back. So yeah. So if I make it the 1080 resolution like this, it could also be that I'm too far towards the center. And I know that when you go really fast like this, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It has something to do with registering. But you can see that this is with the normal resolution. It's with normal resolution. Yeah. Normal resolution. And then as soon as I switch it to the one that you guys just seen, it doesn't work. So it's a little too fast. And I would say that I made slower elevators specifically for that. But if you're looking to have some fun, this is definitely will be a fun build. I'll say that it definitely works a hell of a lot better on the smaller it is, like the 5 floor or 6 floor version compared to a 7 floor version, and then this version compared to the other one. It's only 3 floors, so this is going to work no matter what, just because it's not that far of a distance. It is possible though with pistons to not register depending on your computer. Like, I'm going to try getting over really far. I'm just going to not hit nothing. You see, so we went to this floor. So it definitely does the stop on each floor, and then we can ride it from... Yeah, I definitely didn't feel any lag when I hit that button, so having the torch tower, I do feel some lag. Yeah. Yeah, so 3 floors is definitely, I mean, unless you're using full screen. If you go to full screen, it works really well. I don't think this would ever work on a server, but I mean, so the theory of does this work, would this work? I definitely think it does work, but I think that the original version is much better. So what I mean is that some repeaters and torches and blocks is cheap. It's cheaper than using 2 pieces of redstone, 3 cobble, you know, and that. It's cheaper. So obviously to make a redstone torch it requires a little bit, but I think that, you know, having to have all that nether to just create those observers, to me, means this is cheaper, making it like it is now, and that there's no reason to use an observer, in my opinion. This doesn't show the animation because I'm using a resource pack that's out of date. Yeah, here, you want to see something crazy? This is the Minecraft texture pack that probably will not work, but it will change it so it looks like I'm in Xbox 360. Yeah, see, Xbox 360 texture pack. Not all the blocks are done though. You'll see them here when I hit E. You'll see most of the blocks are done. When we get into the observers and stuff, you'll see the observer is not changed. The dropper is, but yeah, if you check out the observer, you can see that's still the standard look, and nothing else has changed. I thought it was crazy that they fixed it so that you can use resource packs from old, you know? Like, I actually really like this one. This one gives you the classic look of Minecraft. This is mine. I created this one to be less laggy. Oh, whoops, I did not activate it. Maybe it does not work. Okay, natural resource pack. Redstone ready. Yes. And then done. Okay. So this basically should have all the it's the standard blocks and everything. Okay, it does not work. Obviously it does not work. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's crazy. Okay. Let's go to option, resource. Yeah, so that one is way old. I mean, it's too old. So let's go ahead and use the code crafted. It's the closest to what we have right now. There we go. Does it work when you're not recording? Yeah. Well, actually, if you're watching this, let me just show you something real quick. I'm going to turn off Minecraft. So this is why it wasn't working. Is that you see how I'm using my monitor? I'm using a weird resolution so I can see people's comments. So when I'm building, I want to be able to see what you say. So, but when I do this, when I run it like that, which is basically in, you know, it's almost in 1080. Of course, we can full screen it as well. Let me go ahead and full screen it. Whoops, I full screened the wrong thing. Let me do this. So if I full screen Minecraft and we use it, I won't get any of that stuff. Yeah, it works. It just works better. Is it foolproof? No. No elevator in Minecraft is foolproof. I will say, though, that you got to think, I'm using recording, I'm streaming through my thing, I'm using my processor, I'm also using my graphics card. Yeah, using my graphics card, and I'm also using this texture pack, which is in a 32, I think it's in a 32-bit. No, it's standard. It's standard. Oh no, this is 32 bits. So this is basically the faithful texture pack with basically updated redstone. As you can see, it makes the redstone look cool. So if we try it again, all right, and if I'm in the right here, I'm just gonna look forward and see what happens. I did see myself get moved to the right, as you guys could see. I'm like stuck in the block. Let me get rid of that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say this is more of a computer issue, but it can also be where you stand. Which I'm going to go ahead and say is kind of weird because I didn't have any... Like, if I go to the 1.8, I don't actually get any of these problems. I have noticed that Minecraft has become horribly, unoptimized. Seriously. It's just not optimized. I think it has more to do with block detection than anything else. So if I'm standing like right here, or maybe even right here, and I look up and kind of to the right like that, it seems like it works pretty good. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a little bit farther over. I think I'm going to actually do something different here. Let me go ahead and do, see, spec, it's actually game mode. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Game mode, and we want to go spectator and enter. This way we could just float through. Right, and then I want to okay, so yeah, so in full screen, having some issues. As you guys can see, it says CPU 12 times Intel Core, but I am using a 1070 Titan graphics card, which it's the 10 series, so it's pretty old, but I'm going to say that I haven't had any real issues until, except for when I record. If I go back into, let's go ahead and check it out. If I go back into, let's see, F11, go back into this mode, which is, it's a slightly less resolution. It should show here. Back to the game. Let's see what the resolution is. Minecraft planks. Let's see. I don't see the resolution on here. So yeah, like this, when I just have it extended, it seems to be a hell of a lot better. Like, it seems to work pretty good. This is how I normally play, so I can see my chat and stuff. So let me go ahead and make it so I can disable that. Chat, I want to get rid of chat. Desktop. And then I want to enable Minecraft. So this is what we were at before. So anyway, let me see here if I do this so I can see your comment. All right. So yeah, it does work when recording. Yeah, it does work when recording. I do think it has more to do with where you're standing. And but it shouldn't. It's just a little fast is all. I mean, it's super fast. Seriously, it's super fast. Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe, yeah, it's a little too fast. It's a little too fast. We do make it quite a distance, I'll say. Yeah, I could have swore I broke out a piston. I guess I didn't. Oh, I broke out those pistons. Okay, so... There we go. Yeah, so if I switch this to... It seems to work the best, this particular elevator version 7. It seems to work the best if I'm actually doing it in... like I said, it's not quite 1080. And that seems to be what works the best with it. But it should work in full screen. Like I said, this isn't normal, honestly. See, now that I'm in that weird... It's not moving me over, you know? It works pretty good. It looks like it threw me into... It's like smashed me into an area you're not supposed to. So, could it be something with this update? It could be. I will tell you that on 1.8 this thing works flawlessly. But, yeah. At smaller heights, it definitely works better. For sure. I'm going to say that if I was to download Optifine, which probably isn't out yet for this version, to be honest, I'm just sick of you trying to, you know, fix this game so that it works properly. If it doesn't work now, then I don't do it. Like, but anyway, so prototype wise, you can't get anything to work 100%, especially when you're making it that size. That's a lot of pistons to be running. But I'm going to say that if we were to go into an earlier update, it definitely works better in full screen. But anyway, so yeah, so my idea, now that I've looked at these, I think that it's easier to use redstone torches, and it's cheaper to use redstone torches, and you don't have to use these extra pistons. You can just send a signal up, and you can send a signal down. So I'll probably end up just reloading this world, or just fixing that later. So I actually was testing, I built these two from my tutorial. I thought maybe I could use the observer block to maybe make this circuitry smaller. I'm just not quite good enough with it yet to do it. But it does still work straight off of the tutorial. The secret waterfall entrance. People ask me, how can you lock it from the inside so that nobody can use it? It's actually pretty easy. The problem is that the person that asked me probably asked me that 3 years ago. But the way that you lock it from the inside is you basically you could have a piston basically come across here, like right here, and it will come across here and stop it. So say I was on the inside of this and I wanted to make it so nobody could activate it from inside, you know? So basically I could do something like this. Actually, you know, let's just put it right here. You could have a block there, and you could have it like this, let's just say. And you extend the piston, and then that will sever sever it. So once you're inside, it's that simple. Now people could sit there and activate it, and it's not going to work. So if you're ever curious, just simply cutting off the redstone signal, and then when you're ready to leave, you just basically unlock it, and then hit your button. Go on outside, and then use your secret redstone torch, and then take off and let it reset itself. Pretty easy. Yeah, it's a simple thing to do. Yeah. So going back to what I said about, there's certain heights and certain amounts of circuitry depending on what you're doing. I will say that this works pretty much every time when I'm not recording, and also when it's in full screen. But I've always noticed that Minecraft, it's always been really glitchy when it comes to, Minecraft's always been buggy. It's always been buggy when it comes to like your screen resolutions, whether you use full screen or not full screen. Yeah, because I want to try this with full screen. Like I said, I wouldn't do a tutorial on this unless I was sure that it was working, and it was working 100%. So, but like I said, depending on where you stand on this can determine whether it works or not. Also, the orientation in which you built it. So, I think I would need a map, but it should say on here if I'm facing east or west. It has been a really long time. Yeah, it's been a long time since that, but so we're a little bit farther off. I'm going to try and get more centered, like right here. Hit this. You guys can see that because it's not taking up so much. What the hell? That's not normal. Because it's not taking up so much. Yeah. Because it's 5 and we're in full screen, it seems to work pretty good. But I would say that if you go up a little bit higher, because it's so fast, it's a multiple floor elevator, so that its presence, it's a hell of a lot of circuitry to have in one area. So when you have something that's in the vicinity of it, so now that I'm in full screen, I can't tell if you guys can actually see what I'm seeing. Let me go ahead and check out YouTube. It might not even be showing it. Oh yeah, it's showing me. So yeah, okay. So all right, just checking some stuff here. All right, you guys should be able to see me back. Okay, so yeah, so having 7 floors, we can kind of see right here, now that I'm in full screen, that 6 floors is probably as high as you'd want to make it. But I will say that if you were to skip floors, you could probably make this all the way up to the top of the map. Or if you were just looking for, like I said, this is more of a thing that's supposed to be fun, more like a model, if you enjoy models. It's not really meant to be something where you can just depend upon it, working. Because I could tell you right now, you could use command blocks and make a much simpler teleportation elevator that will take you, you could basically just design it so it looks like an elevator but have command blocks on the other side. So it's really up to you. Like, this to me is something takes a really long time to do. But if we were to count, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 floors. So there's 10 floors. So if we were to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go to the dark black wool. You'll see that basically if you were to break up your trip to that floor, it should work better. I just think that 10 floors is a little bit was a little bit much. As you can see, yeah. Yeah, as soon as I started looking down, you could see that the registration stopped working, but it definitely took us to there. So if you wanted to, you could basically, I'd say, plot your course to be half and half. So let's go ahead and take it back up to, let's take it up to the purple floor. There we go. I held jump on the very end there so I wouldn't get stuck in the floor. So let's keep this floor active, and let's break it up into 2 trips. Now that we know that it's actually 100 blocks tall, and I'm in full screen, so I'm sure you guys can see it, hopefully. But anyway, so if you guys wanted to, you know, get this to work, the best thing to do would be to make this elevator. This is actually my version 4 elevator that I used to turn into a multi-floor elevator, which I can show you on a different map here. So basically, this is just an experiment that I did and designed it using some of the technology from the other one. But let's say you have a horrible graphics card, or maybe you're recording and you want to show this. You'd basically, if you do get stuck, see what floor you get stuck on. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to see which floor we get stuck on. I'm going to basically do the exact same thing. I'm going to kind of center myself. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to look up. I can see that it pushed me forward. Yeah. As you can see, I mean, it's hit and miss. Maybe if I was to... yeah, maybe if I would have done full screen when you asked me originally, it would work. Now that I'm in full screen, I should probably always run this in full screen, honestly. But I will say you got stuck. Let's say we got stuck on green floor. So instead of getting stuck on the green floor, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 floors up, you could break this up into little things if you were... There we go. We should go up to green. There we go. It's probably the fastest multiple floor elevator that I know of. Honestly, I don't see any others like it. Yeah, I don't see any others like it. So let me go ahead and go out of full screen so I can see what you guys are talking about. Okay, so nobody commented again. So we'll go back to what we were doing. What I really need is somebody to donate some equipment to me, because I'm using a crappy microphone. I only have one monitor. It's not an Ultra HD monitor, and I can't afford anything. Like, to be honest, as soon as my graphics card takes a dump, that's it. It's why you don't see me playing with a shader on right now, is just because I don't want to put any unnecessary pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And we were talking about like really high elevators. The version 5 Blaze Farm. This is my multiple floor Void World, the Ender, and most of these are backups of my Ender server. Yeah, Iron Foundry, how to make a lock. This is actually a super old map. I don't think it has anything. I don't think it has anything. Some of these maps have been absolutely busted. Like, I had one that was 10 years old, and when I loaded it, all the chunks were busted. So, but it's basically, this is one of those maps that was built and made by hand, and it has a lot of my old first designs. Like, everything you guys see here is literally like my first elevator designs that I did before I knew what I was doing. But yeah. So here's a design. So this particular elevator may not work. Yeah. And I believe the reason why it doesn't work is because it's using an old monostable circuit. The kind that don't work anymore. Yeah, like this thing does not work anymore. So we'll go with an older design to activate the power. Technically, we only need power into this block, but I had no idea what I was doing back in the day. So sounds like I'm eating some stuff here. Okay, so where's the button coming from? Here's the button. This is going under the ground. It's going under the ground, and then it's coming up through here because I have a repeater, and that's basically powering. It's powering nothing here. What the F? Let's uncover this old elevator to see what the hell I did. Yeah, back in the day, I had no care for how big something was. I really didn't care, and I had like I'd say I had on the borderline of obsession. So this is actually the circuit. The way it's designed, it's actually not in the same location of my old ones, which is hilarious if you actually think about it. It's not in the same location. You can see the green circuit's in there, and the red circuit is actually not quite the same as the one that I have now. But basically, I want power going from one area. I don't know why I ran that under the ground. It's really not necessary. But I can go ahead and rig up a quick little... I can rig up a quick thing. Yeah, totally unnecessary. Some of the stuff I did here is so unnecessary. It's kind of funny. It's like going back and looking at some terrible work you did. So all we really need here is we just need one monostable. And I'm going to use the old one because it still works, which we're basically just going to have a block right here with a block on top of it, and we want it to basically actually, you know what, let's put it over here just for the sake of it. We want the redstone coming off of this, going into it so it gets a signal, and then we want that output going here into another piston that has it basically, so when this extends forward to here, it will activate the power to the elevator. I don't know what I got going there, but I do know that's the input. And then we want this going in there like that. And so this should be on, by default, I think it's on the off position. But let's just try it, because I think you guys will crack up. It's so hokey. It's super quick though. When you see how it works, you know, you see how it works, you'll crack up. When I made this, I had a 32-bit computer, so it was the only thing I could get to work. So the way that it works, and it's going to crack you up, is that when it does its thing, yeah, we want to keep it, we'll keep it slow. When it does its thing, the pistons retract themselves. Here, check it out. So look at them. They come up and then they drop. right? It's actually, you would think that's stupid, but it forces the game to register you. And the reason I had to do that is because I only had a 32-bit computer. Now, this is CMB Minecraft's elevator. I made this back in 2013 watching his tutorial, and it still works and has always worked, even though some people would tell you that it does not work. It's actually really fast, and I mean, you hit the up button and you go ahead and get into your elevator. You want to make sure you're standing on that side. Yeah, actually, on this one you do need to have... The thing with this elevator is that it actually has to come down to you like a normal elevator. So I was thinking about using something similar to this, where, yeah, something similar to this, right? It still pushed me out. I'm gonna say that I think it's the timing of this bottom. Where is that bottom piston? The first piston that lifts you, yeah, this one. That's all it is right there. Back in the day, you used to have that set perfectly. But yeah, this is why I never made an elevator. I wanted to have instant extension. Cube Hamster is the first person I seen that had instant extension on his elevator, and it made me want to do it. It made me want to use his... Oh yeah, you got to hit down. It doesn't work if you hit up, which is pretty cool. So my elevator is really actually designed partially because his is. I mean, because, yeah. So now that we are going to get lifted up first, you can see that it's actually, it's not the fastest elevator, but it's definitely reliable. And of course, it's really cool that the up and down button don't actually work unless you're actually going down. So you can see that I kind of made different versions. I tried messing around with different kinds of circuits. And I eventually settled upon the red circuit being over here. Now this is going to sound funny, but this was the first design that I got to work using my red circuit. It's not anybody else's circuit, it's my red circuit. And you can see that I have it on its slowest speed. I'm going to go ahead and stick it on the fastest speed because I do know it's capable. When there's not a lot of circuits around it, it's actually very, very reliable. So you can see that I made it so the lead piston's on the right side. Look, there's no glass. Do you see that? No glass. And it took me right up. 0 glass. Right? So I figured out that if I wanted to make a multiple floor elevator, by simply adding power to the red circuit in certain locations, it will actually stop in a specific location. And so this is basically my proof of how I figured it out. You know, you guys could not imagine the amount of stuff that I went through, honestly, to learn how to make that. I mean, I made tons of different types. But because I had a 32-bit computer, a lot of the stuff didn't work. Yeah, a lot of stuff didn't work. I bet you this will break if I use it. This is actually CMB Minecraft's lighting. Yeah, let's see if it retracts it. Nope. CMB's light. I bet you it needs different timings. Yeah, it needs different timings. Yeah, so here's some stuff with me messing around with clocks. You know, messing around with them. Yeah, messing around with specific types of clocks. Yeah, anyway. you know, revisiting the old days. I made like a secret chamber. I don't think that the 3x3 door works anymore. I think that's why it's wide open. This is actually CMB Minecraft's old one, and so it doesn't actually work. Yeah, it doesn't actually work. So it's in the always on position. You guys can see that I had absolutely no idea about making stuff compact. So what happened was you'd come in here, and if it's unlocked like it is now, then you could come through and that little thing would basically trigger it. So our combination code would be 9 8 7 3 1 5 6 4. That's actually 3. Anyway, long story short, it would open up a secret room under the ground. I'm actually curious if it still works, because there is some adjustments you have to make to it. So it should be zeroed out. So let's try it again. So 9 8 7. Then we need 3 1 and then 5, and then we need 6 4 2. Wow, still works. That's crazy. Unlocked. Yeah, I had all kinds of all kinds of stuff going on here. Look at this, ridiculous. You can just use little things now to do that. Yeah. Unlock hidden door, and then you hit lock, and then you run out, and then the thing would close behind you. But of course this secret entranceway doesn't work anymore, so it shouldn't actually turn on. Yeah, it's busted. Come on, let me out. Just gonna get rid of that. There we go. Yeah, I thought about making some sort of, you know, survival thing, and I made all of these in gates and AND gates and all these things to try and, you know, create lock systems and stuff. I made videos on them, but nobody was interested in them, so I never touched them again. I made like all kinds of stuff, you know, just in the beginning, obviously. Eventually I started learning that, you know, stuff that I've been doing. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this, because I've been doing this for quite some time. Seriously. I think I'm coming up on hours. So anyway, we will take we will basically I don't know what I'm gonna do next in the Minecraft. It would be nice if people actually put some stuff down in the comments and let me know what they would like to see in the future. Seriously, because I think messing around with redstone and showing you guys what I do on a daily basis when I was playing Minecraft, and how I figured out, what do I really want to do a tutorial on something that's not reliable? Is it just my computer, or is it the resolution? What is it? If this was in full HD, would it work? Should I use Optifine? And then if I'm using Optifine, if you're not using Optifine, would this actually work? So this project is so big, you know, the 10-floor version of it, like I said, once I went into full screen and did it a couple times, it started working perfectly. But because redstone's not 100% reliable, you will always have that, you know, where you don't know if it's gonna not work for somebody. And if you have a 32-bit computer, it's not going to work. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good one.